Last part, we were talking about the Shield winning the tag team championship, or possibly not. Now it's time for Dean Ambrose himself. I do think he's winning the U.S. title. I personally think it's a mistake. And I kind of want to echo some of the points that Peyton was making up in the part 7. I I disagree with Burhan that Ambrose would help the U.S. title. I think that the U.S. title being in a group with like the Shield, where Ambrose hasn't kind of stepped out, it's going to hurt the U.S. title. Now, Kofi Kingston holding it is obviously not, it's, making it legitimate or anything like that. People like to bring up a lot. But Ambrose, I can't see him breaking off and being a singles competitor and building up the title to a ridiculous extent. I
He's going to
think
be
they're
the
just
heel,
gonna.
though. He's going to be the heel that makes the title matter. It's the same thing that you had Flair and the Horsemen. All these guys protecting the champion, but they had their own titles at the same time.
But
It
you
was
can't have
effective.
that. We can't have Dean Ambrose become the Wade Barrett of the Shield. That's the thing that's wrong, and that's what's going to
It's not like
happen if
he's
they do
winning the
this.
WWE or World Heavyweight Championship. He's
Well,
winning
neither
the
did
fucking.
Wade Barrett.
Well,
See,
yeah, but he
I
challenged for it.
see. I
He's
think
not
that
challenging for a world title.
here's the problem that comes with him winning the championship. Either, like Peyton said, either he comes out and he becomes the leader of the Shield, uh, even if it's just in the eyes of the fans, or he doesn't, and he ends he ends up just defending it almost as if there's a third tag team championship,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's not good enough for the United States title. The United States title right now, if they needed somebody else other than Kofi Kingston to do it, why not give it to somebody like Damian Sandow? Something totally unrelated. The Shield could do the 3-person tag team title situation if they
Not
really
only that,
wanted
the
to.
Shield is like at that level where they could be doing their own story. It's like Sheamus or Randy Orton. They don't need to be doing a title. They could be doing their own story. Just whatever the Shield is doing is important enough to be a story. It doesn't have to be this is the United States title storyline. So they could have the Shield storyline going on. They could have a tag title story, and they could have a U.S. title story. And you could have 3 completely separate stories rather than one that's hodgepodging these all together.
Yeah. Anybody agree or disagree?
Well,
I disagree.
the only thing I will agree on is that Sandow is still a perfect choice to hold. Like, let's say, if he ever gets an opportunity, he to me is an ideal person to hold the United States or Intercontinental title. He's good on the mic. He could do a really good title reign. He'd be a perfect heel to take the belt off of Kingston. But here, you're not saying that the Shield won't put any attention on the belts at all by being associated with them, with Ambrose becoming United States champion and Rollins and Reigns holding the tag titles. That's going to put some eyes on the belts. In the eyes of the fans, these people are holding the championships. They're people that the fans care about at the moment. It's not like they get no reaction, this, that, or the other. When you got people that much importance holding these belts, doesn't that make them important? Isn't that what people want for the championship? Is for people of any sort of relevance to hold them and have decent title reigns?
It's
Well,
better
who's to say they're going to
than.
have decent title reigns? What are they going to
I
do with these titles? Are they
Yeah.
going to be defending champions? Are they going to be go out there having these kick-ass title matches all the time? They're probably going to keep doing the Shield shtick, and they're just going to have a belt sitting on their shoulder around their waist doing absolutely nothing.
Right,
Well, we
that's
well,
what
can
I'm
say
getting
that,
compared
but
at.
we
compared
won't
to
know
what
until
they,
it
yeah.
happens.
And to be fair though, they weren't doing much with the belt as is. Having the belts on the Shield at least makes the belts mean more because really all they've been doing is just having all the mid card
Exactly.
guys fight each other for no apparent reason. I mean that belt basically has
Let's
just been nothing but a prop. At least
let's
in
not
this
forget.
case, it's a prop that means something.
Like, I'm not going to knock Team Hell No's reign because as a tag title reign, it's lasted a long time and it's done very well. The U.S. title, when it was on Cesaro, he was being jobbed out as champion for his last 2-3 months as
Hmm.
champion straight after being built up for. But I get it, he didn't really connect. So okay, let's drop him like a rock. Even though, yeah, sure, I get it. And then you give it on Kingston, who's having his 1,000th, transitional reign between champion and champion. Happens every time he gets a mid card title. Arguably, not when he won his first Intercontinental or United States Championship, but every title reign after that, he's held it to basically drop it to somebody else. This is another instance for that. It's
The
worth a
fact
shot.
is, the US title is sorely needed to elevate these guys, and these guys are needed to elevate the title because the championship itself was going nowhere. at this point in time. They don't see anybody else who's viable enough to get the championship. And I say good on Ambrose. I'm glad that someone's getting it who's at this point in time has had a strong push, and especially with the other members of the Shield. It doesn't mean that he's going to be like the standout of the group. It just means that all three guys are going to hold a championship, which is at this point in time is what is needed to help elongate the Shield's story and keep the group fresh. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same old crap that you've had a problem with since it happened, Tony.
Yeah, but I have no faith that they're going to do something more than what happened with the Nexus and the tag team titles. They just held the tag titles. I think WWE is going to
They only held the tag titles, though. They never held any other sort of championship within that group. Here's an opportunity to do that.
It's going to get lost in the shuffle.
The Nexus and the Core were groups that were badly booked.
Horribly booked.
Yeah.
And bad is an understatement. The Shield is booked a billion times better.
Yeah, they've been booked so well at this point in time. So the only logical step is to give them that push. Hopefully they'll do well with it, because they've done well with the gimmick that, as you said, the gimmick's terrible. The fact that it's gotten over so well is because of these three guys. Why don't we allow these guys to see what they can do with this championship and see how they work, and not dismiss it as just as something in comparison to what happened with the Nexus or the Core, because it's a totally different group and they've been booked in a totally different way.
I really hope so, because it's going to suck if that makes the U.S. title just something. Excuse me. Kind of like what Hayden said, just something else. It's another thing. Instead of having a vest on, they have a championship title on. That's what I'm worried about. But
isn't that essentially what it is for everybody, though? A prop to put around your waist?
Not really, man. A title can really change a person's persona, their personality. It can become part of who they are, and I don't see these titles becoming part of who the Shield is.
Well, who does everybody think that Ambrose is winning?
Yes, I do.
He has to win. And I was going to say this earlier, if he doesn't win, and let's say Rollins and Reigns do win, it's going to really put a dent in the perception that Ambrose has, because he is the leader of the group, and he couldn't pull off winning this big title.
I really don't think he is. He hasn't been portrayed as there's no clear
leader. There isn't. And that's what's making the group it works so well, because these are three individuals looking to go to the next level of their careers. They're looking to take what they want, which is, with these titles, they're going to take what they want, and hopefully it will build into something bigger. And again, as long as they don't start announcing Ambrose or Reigns or Rollins as the leader of the group, then the dynamic will fail, because it's then going to turn into a situation where they're just going to protect his title.
Brandon, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. You want to roll us out here?
Yeah, you know what? I think they absolutely need to put the belt on Ambrose right now, just to give the U.S. title a little bit more meaning, because it's really not doing anything on Kofi Kingston. But I don't think that the Shield needs belts, but they'll give it to him anyway.
Am I the only one who heard Brandon go Optimus on us on this?
Yeah, that might. He went a little Transformer.
Yeah,
but,
you went Transformer on us right there.
We heard what you said.
I heard some Prime. I heard some Optimus Prime.
That they're going to give it to him, and they might not necessarily need it, but it might work.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose on Team Burhan, right?
That is correct, and I have Kofi Kingston.
All right, so those are the Fantasy League points that you can be looking forward to. Next part 9, is going to be Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger for the #1 contendership.